All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6 a.m. in the Calumet region, and you're listening to WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM. And this is the morning call with Tom Dabertin on Wednesday morning. Good morning to you. Have lots to talk about today. We have made the national news cycle twice in the last couple of days about stories that basically came out of Northwest Indiana. So we'll talk about those and lots of other issues. But let's begin with traffic and weather. Traffic this morning, right now, not looking bad on any area expressway in Northwest Indiana. The toll road 8094, the Klein Avenue all look good. I-65 looks good. Going across the line into Illinois, the Skyway, the 294, 294 around the city. Stevenson Expressway looks pretty good. The Dan Ryan actually looks pretty decent right now. I took it yesterday about this time, and it was really packed up, but it's in good shape this morning. And even the Kennedy and Eisenhower look good. So traffic is moving fine this morning, but of course it's only 6 a.m. And now it's time to talk to Lynette, and we'll talk about weather. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 43 degrees with highs of 46 and lows of 41. Should be mostly cloudy throughout today, and then tomorrow on Thursday we'll be having highs of 53 and lows of 44. Should be mostly cloudy. And then Friday we'll be having highs of 49 and lows of 38, and should be cloudy with a touch of rain.
And I just got a text from Jed. You might check as well. I'm not sure what that's about, so want to check.
Yes, I think we're having problems again with the radio broadcast.
Okay. So, well, let them know. So we may only be broadcasting over YouTube Live and over Jed TV this morning, folks, and I apologize if that's the case. But there is a lot to talk about that's going on in the news, and especially in Northwest Indiana. So there's two big stories that have gotten national exposure. One happened over the weekend, and that was involving a pregnant woman at Franciscan Health in Crown Point. The other actually came out yesterday, and this was a story involving a Purdue Northwest professor who interrupted a Turning Point USA meeting and basically called all the participants racist. And that story actually led Hannity last night on Fox News. I had this inkling. I don't watch Hannity usually, but I had this inkling that something was afoot. And sure enough, it was one of the lead stories on the Hannity show last night on Fox News. So if you've got opinions about those issues, we'd love to hear them this morning. 845-1100 is the number to call. And in addition, I know that people are upset about some other things. The U.S. Conference of Bishops, their declaration about illegal immigrants, the issue with Chuy Garcia. He was rebuked by Congress yesterday, led by a Democrat. To rebuke him, 24 Democrats voted with all the Republicans to issue the reprimand, but Frank Mervan voted however Hakeem Jeffries told him to vote, is what basically the news reports say. And then there's also a story about from CNN this morning that says that the shortage of air traffic controllers actually stems back to the Obama administration, and that they had tried to hire a number of people under DEI programs, and it ends up that those individuals, many of them, were unable to pass the exam and pass the rigorous training that it takes to become an air traffic controller, and that's why we have a shortage. Now, this came from CNN, not Fox News, CNN this morning. So 845-1100 is the number to call, and we've got callers. So good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Tom.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good.
You know, I get up in the morning, turn the TV on to watch the news, drink a fresh cup of coffee, and every day, you know, they say the crime in Chicago is going down. Well, every time a lady is set on fire, and then this lady, they interviewed her about the CTA. She says, I've been robbed on the CTA train 3 times. That's the only transportation.
Well, here's the question.
You know?
Here's the question, Mike. So they say crime's going down, but it's going down from historic highs. So is that something to celebrate? This is something that Governor Pritzker keeps on saying, well, crime is going down. Well, yes, but if it was up so high, is that really something to celebrate? Because it's well above historic levels. So, I get it. You're a politician. You always want to claim that you've done something. But in the case of crime in Chicago, it's still much higher than it should be. And I think that's the big issue.
And then the other thing with that mother that had that baby, if you read their missions for Franciscans' Health, they're Catholic, they're nuns. I never seen nothing on the mission saying that all they're out to do is make money. They don't care about people's health. That now right there. So if I went into that Franciscan's hospital, if I went in there today, my arm is cut and I'm bleeding, holding a towel, and I go in there and say, I need help. My arm's bleeding. Oh, it's not bad. Go home, come back later. Is that the proper way of that Franciscan's Health in Crown Point, that brand new stupid building to treat people?
Well,
that is disgraceful.
Well,
I don't care what color. I don't care what color you are. Right now, I hope they get sued off their pants for that.
Well, they're going to get sued. A big argument with the Catholic health system. So there are a lot of Catholic-owned hospitals, but when it comes down to the way that they treat patients and the way that they operate, the question in my mind is, should they be considered not-for-profit? They are big profit operations. I look at what they did in downtown Hammond. They completely lied. They said that they were going to curtail St. Margaret Mercy Hospital, but they were going to continue an emergency operation. It's completely gone. There's nothing there. They even lied about the so-called baby box, where someone could drop a baby in. That baby box never got relocated like they promised in downtown Hammond. And I've got a letter because the Whiting Knights of Columbus helped promote installing that baby box, and I have a letter from one of their CEOs who out and out lied and said that the Whiting Knights of Columbus didn't know the full story and that they were working feverishly to install that box. Yet the fire chief in Hammond says they've had no conversation whatsoever. The past fire chief and the current fire chief have both said that. So St. Margaret's and Franciscan lied about that as well.
Yeah, and the mayor, Tom Dabertin, did everything possible to try to talk to them to keep it open.
He did.
But no, I give credit to the mayor for, the city of Hammond mayor for trying to keep it open, because I sit at home here and I'm not far off of Calumet Avenue, and I hear the ambulances going from the north side here all the way to Munster, or they got to go to St. Catherine's,
Well, they go to either. I mean, look, if you're up in the north end of the city, like I am, you have a choice. They'll take you to St. Catherine, or they'll take you to Munster, most likely Munster, unless it's a trauma situation. They do take some trauma individuals to the University of Chicago now, but still, St. Margaret's, they made it sound like, oh, we're just moving things around. They're talking about closing the facility in Dyer, and they're going to leave the people that live out toward Dyer in the same lurch that they've left people in the north end of the county. So I agree with you.
Yeah,
hey, Mike, we have two other callers holding, so we got to move on this morning.
Okay, well, each and everybody out there have a nice, safe day and stay warm.
All right, thanks so much for calling. 845-1100 is the number to call, and we've got more callers. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, MX. How are you?
How you doing?
Good.
Well, I'm looking for a piece of coal.
And that piece of coal is to give to whom?
We'll find out.
Oh, this is part of the Christmas show. Yes, coming up. I've seen some of your posts. Looks like you Bad Santa's got his workshop in overdrive.
Yes, but he's a good Santa too for a few people. But part of the show will be in when we have it. Call in, and who do you think should get the piece of coal? I know who I'm going to give it to, but that will be one of the staples.
Well,
I don't know how long
could it be going to somebody who claims he's bipartisan all the time?
You know what? let's go to another subject.
All right, we'll go to another subject. Go ahead. I'm going to take
You
a
mean
quick
the
drink
one
of
that
water.
don't stand for the kid with cancer?
I think that might be the same person.
Everybody gets to call in during the show and say who they give a piece of coal to. I've got 8 things on the tree and how this will work. You will pick the, what, off the tree, what do they call that, the piece of cardboard? And I will read
postcard.
What people get. Yes, the postcard. But something really starting to brew up, and I did miss the Hannity show. And
the Turning Point USA issue at Purdue Northwest. Yeah, it was the lead story last night. I mean, that's a significant issue. I mean, Hannity, his ratings are somewhere around 8 million viewers, so it's a pretty strong market. And it was the lead story, and my guess is that Jesse Waters and some of those other shows on there will pick it up tonight.
Now, Jed had a really good point that Farley, I think he's the president, the local CEO of Ford, and you need a lot of mechanics making $120,000 a year. Okay, one of my I'm for college bound, and I'll tell you why. There's something let's put it this way, if it wasn't for Jimmy Carter in 1978, when Jimmy Carter come out and had a program for apprentices, he gave money to apprentices, and that's how I was able to become an apprentice boilermaker, and he gave money for 4 years to put me through an apprentice school. Now, we have switched from that, and this is why I don't make fun of Jimmy Carter. As you know, Jimmy Carter built homes. So if it wasn't for Jimmy Carter, there would not be an MX. I'm telling you that right now. I would still be shoveling coal, and I could get all the coal I wanted. So I kind of got the hands off on Jimmy Carter. But we have went from there to college bound. Now, I don't like paying the freight on something that puts a target on my back, and I've got to tape that I'm white privilege. I am not white privilege. I don't like when professors.
Let me just point out.
Say this.
Wait a minute. Let me just point out that your premise that college isn't for everybody. I agree with you. It isn't, and I think it's been built up to be something that it's not. It's not an automatic ticket for success by any means. It can be very costly. I think a lot of individuals have been taken advantage of over the years by these phony little private colleges that are kind of fly by night. So I think that you have to look at the institution that you're going to, and I also think that there is a view of privilege that professors at larger schools like Purdue Northwest seem to have, that somehow they have the idea that they're there to instill their views on everybody else. They're there to educate individuals, not to instill their views, not to force their political views. Go ahead.
Okay, so now this teacher comes in there, and now I'm paying the freight for this, okay? And now we're in debt, $241 million in debt. As you see, I have 6 administrators, and they're very smart people on my site, and we're growing. And I only wanted 200 people. Now we're up to 500 in MX Cartoons. So I don't like paying the freight, and someone called me white privilege, and somebody breaks into a classroom and talks about fascism and racist. I'm not going to say we need to stop college bound, because not everybody is built for the trades. Mm-hmm. But we need to really, really clean this act up, okay? And that's why I called today.
Well, I'm surprised there's no outrage.
Totally against that.
Well, there's no outrage, for example, by the or statement so far by the chancellor or Purdue Northwest, and this is a national story, and I think they need to make a statement at this point. The question that I had is, why was this professor walking in on a meeting that was obviously sanctioned by the university? They allowed the group to meet. She just barged in. You could see the young woman who's up in front in the video. You're one of the people who posted the video. This young woman is standing in the front, and this professor just decides that she's going to come in and take over the meeting. And if you did that anywhere else, you basically you wouldn't be allowed to do it.
I know you're big, but I know you're big, and I can get a lot of duct tape and a lot of friends. What if we just barged in there and duct taped you and took the show over? What happens? The cops would be called in, and we would go to jail. What if I had a Christmas party and somebody just barges in? Somebody goes to jail.
I agree. It was wrong. It was wrong, and nothing was done about it. And I would think that the chancellor would have issued some sort of a statement by now. I mean, when you've got it on shows like Hannity, it's become national news, and there should be something said. One
last thing. What day? A lot of people call me and holler at me about this college bound now, because I ain't the brains behind the operation. I had an administrator call me last night, talk to me for a half hour about what happened on Hannity, and I'm relaying the message to you as the site is growing. But what day is the Christmas show? Because people want to know.
So the Christmas show will be. Too bad we don't have a drum roll. It will be the 17th of December. Wednesday, the 17th of December is our Christmas show.
And thank you very much. And like I say, I'm not against it, but we have to straighten this out now. That's 2 strikes.
All right. Thanks so much, MX. 845-1100. We have additional callers. Good morning. You're on the air.
Well, I was listening to the tail end of Jed's interview with, I think, the former chairman of the Lake County Democrat Party.
Okay.
And, of course, the Democrats are wailing the blues, how democratic Trump's efforts to shall we say, hype up the number of Republican congressional seats and how terrible it is, how anti-democratic it is. Well, the Democrats have been gerrymandering forever. Here's a good example.
But Walt, does that make it right? I mean, there's the question.
Of course not.
It doesn't make it right. I mean, the gerrymandering that's gone on in states like Illinois and California are completely wrong. And so, does that mean that Indiana should be as wrong as Illinois?
Well, there's this thing called politics, and when it comes down to what's good for the goose and good for the gander, and actually Republicans have been very slow to get involved with this. Here's how awful it can be, the great Democrat Party, so-called. This is out of the current issue of the original U.S. Congressional Handbook, and I'm looking at Connecticut. Connecticut is 40% Republican, and I'm looking to see how many Republican congressional seats are in Connecticut. None. Absolutely none. There are 5 congressional seats, all Democrats. How about that?
Well, again, I think that look, I brought it up this morning already. Frank Mervan posts constantly. I just went to his Facebook page, and he posts about, being bipartisan. And yet yesterday, here's an example. Yesterday, the perfect opportunity to be bipartisan came up in Congress. The House, introduced by a Democrat, basically considered legislation and then passed it to rebuke Chuy Garcia for trying to fix his race. And, Frank Mervan, who always says, I'm bipartisan. I'm there for the Democrats and the Republicans. Which way does he vote? He votes the way Hakeem Jeffries tells him to vote. He votes against it, even though 24 other Democrats basically said, no, we're going to support our Democratic colleague who's introducing this legislation. 183 Republicans support it. It passes. 193 Republicans pass it. There are 4 Democrats who vote present and don't vote on it. But again, a sizable number of Democrats voted yesterday because what Chuy Garcia did was wrong. He cooked the books when it came to his reelection. And Mervan, I mean, think about it. He has no skin in the game when it comes to Chuy Garcia. It means nothing to him. The guy's retiring anyway. So, why not vote for the right thing? But instead, he votes the way Hakeem Jeffries tells him to do it. And he keeps on saying he's bipartisan, but where are his bipartisan votes? I mean, other than the Epstein files, which came out yesterday, which everybody voted for except one person, that's a no-brainer.
Well, Chuy Garcia is I've seen him on television many, many times over the years, and he gives wonderful speeches about democracy and so forth.
Yeah,
until
and then until it's time for him to act in a basically in a democratic fashion and not talk to the party. But what he did, in case listeners and viewers don't understand, Chuy Garcia basically said he was running for re-election. He claimed he was running for re-election until the very last day. All of a sudden, his campaign manager files a petition. The first signature on the petition is Chuy Garcia. You need 2,500 signatures. No one else is running. No one else has time to run. They slide these petitions in at the last minute, and Chuy Garcia pulls out at the very last minute, like 5 minutes before the deadline, to make sure that basically his campaign manager now gets to be the nominee for the Democratic Party for Congress. And given Chuy Garcia's district, there's no one but a Democrat that's going to win it because of gerrymandering. So, yeah, it was a shell game. His Democratic colleagues called him out on it, and people like Brad Stevens, who you see his ads on TV all the time in Chicago, he voted in favor of the rebuke. There's another Democrat out of Illinois that voted for the rebuke, and there were a number of Democrats nationwide, again, who stood up and said, no, this is wrong. But, it is what it is.
Where were the Democrats during the Biden administration on the Epstein files? I mean, they were in their control. They could have published all of them if they chosen to. They chose not to because probably the dirty finger pointed to Billy Clinton, given his sleazy record in terms of sexual peccadillos.
Well,
all of a sudden they're interested.
You're a very intelligent guy, and you just hit on something. And I think Donald Trump may have played the Democrats on this one, because what came out yesterday, Hakeem Jeffries, for example, begging to meet with Epstein, saying that he, would really appreciate his support and his financial support. And this is after Epstein's been convicted. Hakeem Jeffries is out there asking for his support. There was the congresswoman who took to the floor yesterday and had outrage that she was named because she was actually texting him during committee hearings and asking him to support her. I think Trump played the Democrats on this one. I think he really did, because he knows what's in those files, and he knows that, let's see, Jeffrey Epstein went to the White House 17 times under the Biden administration, under the Clinton administration. He visited the White House 17 times. Okay. Under Trump, he visited 0. When you look at some of the other issues that have gone on, it's known that Bill Clinton was on his private plane and those trips to the island. Trump never took the trip. So there are a lot of issues that are going to come out, and I think Trump sometimes is smarter than people realize. I think for a guy who's not a politician, he's a real politician. I think he set up the Democrats, and I think the Democrats are going to absolutely they're going to find out that they made a big mistake by pushing this issue as far as they did. Look, I'm totally in favor of releasing those files. Don't get me wrong. I think the American people have the right to know what happened, who was involved. But Larry Summers was, of course, an official under the Clinton administration, then president of Harvard University. He's just the first of many that are going to fall. Bill Gates, his ex-wife Melinda, basically some of the information that came out about his dealings with Jeffrey Epstein and visits to the island caused her to file for divorce. So there are a lot of big Democrats that are going to lose in this, and there may be some Republicans too. We'll have to see. Hey, thanks so much for the call, Walt. We've got to go to a break. If you want to give us a call back. 845-1100 is the number, and it's time for a break. You're listening to the Morning Call on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM. Of course, YouTube Live as well, and the TuneIn app. So we'll be right back after these commercial announcements.
Truck drivers, don't miss out on the unmatched consistency of a Schneider driving job. At Schneider, you can find a driving position that fits your lifestyle and goals, all while getting the pay you deserve. Plus, Schneider drivers operate state-of-the-art, well-maintained equipment and have access to award-winning benefits and a 24/7 support team. Explore Schneider's huge selection of driving jobs today and find your perfect fit at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana wants to make you a winner every Friday in October with our $500K Double Down giveaway. Earn entries each week to boost your chance of winning a guaranteed $50,000. Then you can choose to walk away or risk half for a shot at $100,000 in cash. Do you dare to double down? Only at Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana, just off Exit 6 I-8094. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Life's biggest challenges don't come with a warning. When legal issues arise, whether it's a car accident, personal injury, criminal charge, or representing you before municipal boards, you need a trusted advocate on your side. At Westland & Bennett, we listen first because your story matters. We provide strategic, personalized legal solutions to protect your rights, your freedom, and your future. Peace of mind starts with a conversation. Call 219-440-7550 today for a free consultation.
Tech Credit Union supports the essential role of union labor in building strong communities. That's why we offer hassle-free banking, financial empowerment, and a commitment to your success. Save for the future, handle life's challenges, and trust a partner that stands by hardworking union members. Tech Credit Union, the better option for you and your money. Visit techcu.org or call 800-276-8324. Tech Credit Union, supporting union families every step of the way.
But it's time. You gotta catch up with me. Yeah. I'll catch up with you. I'll be right back, man. I'll see you in a minute.
Anything else? Yeah.
Well, what's up, boy? Hey, Ryan. Not tonight, man. Not tonight. Oh, yeah. You guys are right. Hey, come on. Let's go. Come in.
All right, we're back. 845-1100 is the number to call, but let's do traffic and weather again. It is really starting to build on the Dan Ryan and the Bishop Ford. So I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe somebody can call in and explain why the Dan Ryan has been so backed up for the last couple of days, because I didn't see any road work yesterday, although I ended up taking State Street into the city after I got to around Pershing. So there is a lot of backup this morning. Basically, it's now down to Garfield Boulevard, so that's about 55th. It's backed up all the way from 55th into the Circle Interchange, so something's going on there. And then the Bishop Ford also is backing up, kind of its usual backup, right around Stony Island, just before it gets to I-57. So those are the two watch spots this morning. The Eisenhower and Stevenson expressways are building going into the city, but that shouldn't be too much of a concern for most listeners. The Kennedy is actually moving very well. 294 is good, and all the expressways in Northwest Indiana look good right now. With that, let's go to Lynette with the weather. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 43 degrees with highs of 46 and lows of 41. Should be mostly cloudy throughout today. And then tomorrow on Thursday, we'll be having highs of 53 and lows of 44. Should be mostly cloudy. And then Friday, we'll be having highs of 49 and lows of 38. Should be cloudy with a touch of rain.
Yeah, and it looks like the weekend will be fairly mild, so if you need to get the Christmas decorations up, it's a good time to go out and do them. I actually started ours this past weekend, got some of them up, so got a big project this weekend to do outside. I always decorate one of the trees in the yard, and I do it the old-fashioned way, the way they do it in downtown Chicago, where I do the branches, and it takes me hours, but I look forward to doing it every year. So that's one of the projects I have on my agenda for the weekend. 845-1100 is the number to call. Do we have any callers right now? We have a couple of callers, so we'll go right to those calls. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, sir. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Pretty good. Really two things, but I'll make a quick. I know I can see why people in Hammond and Whiting would be upset with Franciscan. I get that. Just staying our side for what our family went through. We really loved the one in Crown Point. We had 3 kids born there, and my wife went through some cancer there. They treated us awesome, worked with us with bills and stuff. So that's just our side of it. But
and again, I don't think it's an issue of people from Whiting and Hammond because they closed the one in Hammond, or the people that live out in Dyer and Munster because they're going to close the one in Dyer, make it into a behavioral health facility. I think the issue is that if you watch the video, the way that woman was treated, she was clearly, basically she was right, obviously, in the fact that she was ready to give birth to that child. And the hospital really was not very caring. So you have to watch the video and see it's the treatment that she gets. It's not the argument, well, people are just mad because they closed other hospitals. In this case, it's clearly the treatment.
Oh, I'm sure. I honestly did not.
And I will say their CEO, by the way, did issue a statement apologizing and saying that the treatment did not reflect the hospital's mission. So,
well, on that. So talking about statements, I just wanted to say we've had some friends that have had kids go through the PNW system and said that, man, it just really seemed to them over the last 2 years it's gotten pretty woke. But you said they didn't, or that they should put out a statement. I don't know who runs their Twitter X account. You got to be careful if you do go on there. There is a parody account, and you'll know by the first post that it's parody. But their account, actually, the thumbnail has the initials PNW. And they did put something out on 11/17 at 7:57 p.m. saying they're disturbed to learn an individual, but blah, blah, blah. So there is a paragraph that they did put out.
Yeah, I guess my point is that I would think the chancellor would issue a statement. There would be some formal statement. I haven't seen that. And so I was not aware of the post on X, or what used to be known as Twitter, so I'm glad to see that something was put out, but I haven't seen anything anywhere else. I went to Facebook, and there's nothing there this morning, and I don't see where they've put out anything. Local news media doesn't have a statement. The Times of Northwest Indiana, the Post-Tribune, or Region News, I don't see any statements from them yet. So
maybe they don't have control of that account anymore. Maybe they out it and handed it off to an ex-student or something. But I don't know. It's pretty disturbing to see how that happened there, especially with everything that's gone on in the last 2 months. You would think there would be a little bit more caution for the professors to things a little bit more diligent or delicately on campus with that.
You would think so. And again, I mean, I used to teach there. I certainly support the university and appreciate what they provide, and it's a very good institution overall. I'm just surprised on this one that, let's face it, as you said, what's gone on the last few months, you kind of knew that this one was going to blow up, right? I mean, as soon as that video hit the internet, you knew that this was going to become a hot topic. I I didn't initially think that it was going to be national news, but something just told me last night, and again, I never watch Hannity. I just don't like the guy. But last night I decided at 8 o'clock to tune in just to see. I had this gut feel. Sometimes you call it intuition, and I thought, well, he's going to have something. And I was on for all of 3 minutes before he basically covered the video and showed the video and talked about how, she broke into the meeting, which was sanctioned, which was scheduled, and she had no business doing it. And he was right. I mean, again, whether I like the guy or not, he was right about what he said. And, you hate, I don't know about you, but you hate to have these kinds of stories, the one for Franciscan and now the one for Purdue Northwest, come out, become national stories. It's just a bad reflection on Northwest Indiana. It just is.
Well, and the sad part is with the whole Turning Point narrative is that so many people, I don't think they really listened to what their message has been. And to see them come the opposite side of it, that's the most ironic thing, I think, is that people are, they're calling Turning Point fascist. And really what they're doing, trying to shut down their free speech in this area that they weren't in anybody's face. They just rented a room or secured a room to have a private meeting. That was it. So
yeah, and
right.
if you read the, in fact, I'm going to try and pull it up on a text that was sent to me. If you read the mission statement that's up behind the professor as she's speaking, it basically says it's the mission to educate students, about the importance of freedom, true free markets, and this is kind of blurry, but limited government intrusion through nonpartisan open debate. I mean, the statement that she's standing in front of sounds like something that any professor would say, "Hey, I agree with that," right? It just
I would think so. People really, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you go ahead.
People really go back and listen to some of his debates. They really were quite interesting. I have to go, sir. I got to get into work. So
not a problem. Hey, thanks so much for the call. 845-1100 is the number to call, and we've got more callers. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Great. Excellent topic as usual. Several topics that can be expanded upon from anything other than Trump's horrible. Trump's horrible. I got it. People don't like Trump. I got it. But starting in reverse, your subject as it relates to the Purdue Northwest campus. Remember, Tom, you're old enough to remember this, and I know some of your callers are as well. Remember when the time when the Nazis got the permit to march in Skokie?
Oh, sure. That guy was a real clown, remember? I mean, he was a total buffoon. In fact, the Blues Brothers largely made him out to be exactly what he was. He was a complete clown.
But compare and contrast, heavily Jewish populated area, but the Nazis were given a permit to march per their First Amendment rights, correct? They did it legally, correct?
That's correct. They were given the right to march, and if I remember correctly, since you mentioned, I think there were like 20 idiots that dressed up as Nazis and marched through Skokie, and I remember the guy's name was Frank something, and I'm looking for it right now, but it was a total joke. I mean, and people protested against it. And I still remember one commentator at the time who said the best thing people could do would be ignore it because you're giving this guy a forum otherwise. So 100%. Just ignore him. Go ahead.
100%. Same thing with the Ku Klux Klan. Marched. They were in Gary, in a cordoned off section, the city of Gary, Indiana, Crown Point, Indiana, back in the 70s, around the square. Not to say that's right. They're horrible people. That's not the issue. The issue is we sort of grew up, those of us who at one time considered ourselves liberal. I know it's a horrible term, but we also believe.
And that Nazi was Frank Collin. That was his name.
Thank you.
Frank Collin.
Remember when there were certain issues that if you were a college professor or you were an extremely conservative individual, one thing we used to agree on, because I had a cousin who was a college professor at IU, we believed in free speech. We may disagree on everything in between, but there are certain issues we agreed on. The military-industrial complex. We agreed on that. One of your frequent callers to this show, Walt, is totally against the military-industrial complex. It seems like today with these students and these younger people, they've lost their sense of the First Amendment right to speak. I heard a lot from college students talking about what they feel, we feel, the students feel. When you get out in the real world and you graduate and you work for a company whereby you have to be evaluated on your performance, and I'm not talking about union positions, I'm talking about where you're a management position, you are going to be graded on a 6-month review based on your performance. It doesn't matter what you feel. But we've got this generation, and I'm sorry I hear it on these airways, what we feel. Do you and the thing is, I think we lost it. Rome only lasted, over 2,000 years or so?
Yes.
The fall of the Roman Empire. And I'm serious, Tom. We have to turn this around, because it seems like every subject with a lot of the younger people today, it's an emotional-based argument. You say, and then we play it up, Tom. Well, we should all listen to one another. No, Charlie Kirk was murdered for his opinion. And then I hear on the airways, oh, it's an opinion. I heard it yesterday. We should have opinion. I agree with that. But you're an older individual saying that. Some of these younger people don't want to hear the opposite end of what you're speaking of. And fast forward, your other subject was an excellent subject. I typically, Tom, do not talk religion on these airways. I don't like it because it's not about convincing you. It's just I don't like it because everybody believes what they believe. But I heard for 3 days what the Catholic bishop stated, okay? And I bit my tongue. But I read something that one of your callers also wrote online. He finally said what I said. Remember this, since we're going to talk a religion, remember, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. In the Bible, you understand what that means.
Absolutely. And I think, and look, I'm Roman Catholic, and I'm going to ask Bishop McClory to come on and explain things, because one of the problems that I have with this statement that the U.S. Bishops Conference came out with, this urgent statement. Yes. They said that they had to issue an urgent statement about the immigration issue. And some of the things they say I agree with. But, for example, where was the mention in that statement about the horrific actions of individuals who use children basically as drug mules and for the sex slave trafficking? There's no mention in that statement anything about those. And if any organization ought to stand firm against that, I think it'd be the Catholic Church, and they didn't do it. They missed an opportunity. If you want to come out and you want to say you don't believe that people are being treated humanely, and I think that there is a lot to be said for the way that some of the ICE agents are acting. I don't think that it's necessary. I think there is some overreaction, but I also think that these protesters don't help things. So I think there's wrong on both sides. But when it comes to putting out a statement, they didn't address the children that have been there. Hundreds of thousands of children that were brought into this country, and nobody knows where they're at. And there was just a raid down in Florida, and they freed 122 children that were being held captive for for the sex trades. I mean,
right.
Those kinds of things aren't being covered by the mainstream media, and they're not being covered. They weren't covered in that statement by the Catholic Church, and I have a problem with that.
Well, not only that, and I have to bring this up. It's mighty funny they bring that up during this. They listen to the bishops when with this issue, but they don't listen to the bishops when the bishops constantly preach pro-life, do they?
Well, and yeah, exactly. They don't listen to them then. And again, when you go back to this issue, I told the story some weeks ago. When I was down in Florida, I ran into a woman, and she was from Honduras. And she came here legally, and so did her sister. And she asked me where I was from, and when I told her the Chicago area, she started talking about the immigration issues. And she said, down in Florida, we did things correctly. Mm-hmm. She said they've left most illegals that are in Florida have been left alone. The law enforcement personnel have gone after and targeted individuals who have criminal records, however, and they've removed them. And she said that's why you're not seeing the big raids down here. Everybody kind of lives peacefully. The people who came here illegally are not being targeted as long as they're not breaking the law. But the ones who've broken the law, and she gave me some examples, she said they're the ones that have been targeted. And so Florida's not having these big raids like we're having to have in Chicago. And she said also you don't see a lot of protests either.
No.
And she's right. I mean, Florida is a heavy immigrant population.
Well, Tom, it's the same thing. I brought this up for years. Go to South Texas, which I have. I looked at the numbers, which I have. Heavily populated county in South Texas, Hispanic. They voted for the Republican the first time since the 1800s because it's affecting their community. And again, it's not Mexicans from Mexico coming over.
It's not the Mexican population.
Correct. So you can't tell me people closest to the problem who are saying this is what we want, this is what we need, that they're just all out of their mind. It affects them. Another thing people don't look at is schools. See, by our Constitution, we are required to educate every single student that enters our public school system. You know that, correct?
Right.
So that's affecting those areas as well. But see, we had these highly emotional debates that really aren't based on any logic. It's so emotional based. And when you bring up these facts, you'll be considered anti. I don't like the fact, like you, I don't think the FBI, ICE, fill in the blank, should be on the streets, period. But the problem is the governments refuse to allow the enforcement agencies in the jails, in the courts, etc. They have no business on the street.
Well, here's something that's interesting. So Pope Leo put out a statement yesterday, and he says in his statement, which is basically he's trying to explain the U.S. Conference of Bishops statement, but he says, well, first and foremost, no one has said that the United States should have open borders. I think every country has the right to determine who and how and when people enter. And then he says, however, if you're going to enforce immigration policy, it should be done in a humane way. People should be treated humanely with dignity. And I don't disagree with him on his statement. So the Pope actually gave a better statement than the U.S. Conference of Bishops. Their statement doesn't say the things that Pope Leo said. I mean, Leo looked at it and said, okay, yeah, they're basically, again, he said, we're disturbed when we see people being living in a climate of fear and anxiety and being profiled. He said, we're very saddened by the state of contemporary debate and the vilification of immigrants. But then says, no one has said the United States should have open borders. I think every country has the right to determine who and how and when people enter that country. Now, the U.S. Conference of Bishops should have maybe listened to him. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, he said it correctly.
And I'll get off after this, Tom. The program MX was looking for what's called a trade readjustment agreement is for his training in the times in the steel mill. That's what that was, expanded upon by Jimmy Carter.
Gotcha.
Have a good day and
excellent
thanks
so
show.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. 845-1100. Have some additional callers, so we'll take another call, and then we're going to go to a break. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Tom. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, fine. Hey, when you have that, what is it? You have that? Is it a guy, a bishop? You said?
Well, I've had Bishop McClory on before. He's the bishop of the Diocese of Gary, and actually planning on having him on before Christmas. I usually have him on before Christmas and before Easter. And when he's on, I want to ask him about that statement because, again, when you read it, some of the points are correct. Okay, people should be treated humanely, no matter what. But it doesn't address some of the obvious. I mean, again, Pope Leo said the U.S., like every other country, should determine who can come in lawfully and legally, and that open borders. No one is saying that the U.S. should have open borders, but the U.S. Conference of Bishops statement sounds like they are saying that. So I'd like to ask him about that, and I'd like to ask him about why they didn't take a stand on the trafficking of children.
Well, plus they use the word indiscriminately, and that's not the case at all. All these people have a criminal record or outstanding warrants.
Most, not all, most.
So it's totally ridiculous, number one. Last time I checked, I think they're slaughtering Christians over in Africa, and I haven't heard these guys speak up at all. They haven't said a word about that.
Yeah, isn't that, wait a minute, before you move on, isn't that amazing? You're absolutely right. There is a slaughter going on. Nicki Minaj basically gave a press conference yesterday and said that she appreciated that President Trump spoke up about the slaughter of Christians in Africa and that nobody else is doing so. And she's not exactly a Trump supporter.
Yeah, it's going on in different places in the Middle East. It's insane. I mean, and then the nerve of your buddy McCourty last time he was on to say that, we didn't know when we were housing all these people when Biden was the president that they were just coming here illegally and we were just making, the Catholic Church was receiving paycheck after paycheck for bringing in all these illegals. Oh, we didn't know. Listen, my ass, you didn't know. Everybody knew. You're flying these people in the middle of the night, dropping them off all over the place, and then you get a phone call. Hey, you got a building anywhere where you could put like 300 people? Where'd they come from? Well, we won't ask. We'll just take the check. Listen, stop lying. We're not stupid, okay? It's insane. He's going to come out and say that again because I asked him live on the air.
Well, I do remember you called in.
Because they love the money. Well, they love the money more than anything. And the nerve of these people to stand behind a wall that's, 14 feet high and 8 feet thick at the Vatican, and then they want to lecture me? Listen, tell me how many you want.
But wait a minute, Mac. It doesn't sound like the Pope, who is in the Vatican, is necessarily standing behind those walls saying those things. Because again, when I read the Pope's statement, it's hard to disagree with his statement. He says people should be treated humanely, but the U.S. has the right to control its border and control who comes here. So
listen, Pope, you want to lecture me on what comes into my country? How many do you want, Pope?
Well,
how many do
there
you
is
want
something else. Wait a minute, there is something else.
Walls?
So Vatican City, of course, is we learned this in grade school. You and I both, that Vatican City is its own city-state and it's independent from Italy. But the immigration of Italy, around it is handled by the Italians, right? And Italy has had a very staunch immigration policy for years. They limit how many people come into their country, and the Catholic Church has never spoken up about that. So you're right.
They used to do exactly what Europe was doing back when we were all told, "Oh yeah, we're gonna invent this thing called the Eurodollar. We're gonna have open borders. and it's going to be like Shangri-La over here. And next thing you know, everybody from Africa came up there. They're raping everybody. The murder rates, and I mean, I swear to God, Tom, I can remember this like it was yesterday. Back in like the middle 90s when I was down at the Board of Trade, I did a lot of business with guys from England. And I'm like, hey, I'm reading this report. The number one name now of newborn children is Mohammed. I go, I thought you guys used like crazy British terms, for names, and Mohammed's now your number one name? Well, you know what the number one name now is? It's Mohammed. You know what the number two name is? It's Mohammed spelled differently. I mean, they're
well, again,
and now they all want to go, oh, maybe this was a bad idea. And now they're trying to not only block them, they're trying to send them back.
Well, the Europeans, you're right about the Europeans. They basically flirted for years with the idea of open borders, and you're right about the whole Euro system. And then they decided that it was undermining their cultures and undermining their economies, and they've pulled back dramatically. And it's funny when they talk about the U.S. and the U.S. basically, if the U.S. imitated the Europeans, it would be a whole lot different. So you're right about that. It's
just
a
the
contradiction.
Craziest thing in the world you've ever seen. I mean, Dearborn, Michigan. Now all the people up there going, hey, can you turn off the prayer horn that's going up like 5 times a day?
All right, but why do people complain about stupid things like that? They're complaining about the prayer horn from the mosques, but do people complain about church bells? I mean, we've had church bells going off in this country for centuries, and in fact, the largest earthquake ever felt in the United States, the New Madrid Fault in 1803, shook the church bells in Boston. I mean, I don't agree with that argument.
You got
that
them
the
up in
horns
Whiting, Tom, and if you want to put the prayer horn next to your place, let me know how that's going to work out.
I'm not saying that I would necessarily like it if I lived next door, but I think there needs to be a little bit more tolerance, because we have church bells that ring all the time, and nobody has a problem with that. But then we have a problem with the horn, the call to prayer by the Muslims. I think that's a paper argument.
I guess since our country started out as a Christian nation, I think we might want to stick with it, because I got to tell you, it seems like it's worked out pretty good, not only for us, but for the entire world.
Well, again, we'll have to take that debate up another time, because we've got to go to a break. Hey, thanks for calling.
Hit the break.
All right. 845-1100 is the number to call. If you want to call in, please feel free to do so, but we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to the Morning Call on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM. It's also available on the TuneIn app and, of course, YouTube Live. We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
For over 140 years, the Central Midwest Carpenters have built our communities in Northwest Indiana. Are you ready to join the effort? We have long-term work, competitive pay, and the best benefits in the industry. We pride ourselves on innovative training and commitment to worksite safety. Earn as you learn as an apprentice. A solid career built on a solid legacy. For more info, go to carpenters.com.
Have you ever considered becoming an iron worker? Local 395 is now accepting applications for their apprenticeship program. Go to ironworkers395.com. Look under the training section, click on apprenticeship, and scroll down to the application. You must be 18 years old, have a high school diploma or GED, and you must be physically able to perform the work of the trade. Find out more by calling the apprenticeship school in Lake Station at 219-962-7675 or visit ironworkers395.com.
Tired of that cracked driveway? Dreaming of a new patio or need a concrete partner for your next big project? Call RNC Concrete Construction, family owned with 30 plus years serving Northwest Indiana. From residential driveways to stamped patios and commercial foundations, we pour with pride and deliver lasting quality. Call today for your free estimate at 219-779-9370. That's 219-779-9370. RNC Concrete, where your concrete vision comes to life.
Siri, read me that text.
Sorry, I can't complete your request.
You want me to read that?
No, I got it.
Construction zone.
I see it.
Watch it.
Oh.
Oh my God. You're gonna hit him!
Oh, fuck!
When driving in a construction zone, be smart, be alert, be in the zone.
This is Brian Short, business manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save lives. We're all in this together.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Do you want to get a vaccine, but it's difficult to get to your healthcare provider? Call the folks at Right Care Pharmacy. They'll come to your home, discuss your vaccination status with you, and administer the appropriate vaccine with expertise. They offer vaccines for flu, shingles, pneumonia, hepatitis A and B, TDAP, RSV, and COVID. They've been serving the Lake and Porter County community for over 11 years and are fluent in Spanish. Call Right Care Pharmacy at 219-655-5028.
Introducing Powers Health, a health system with a new name and a strong legacy of caring for families in our community. One with a tradition of advanced specialized services and a vision for the future. One with a commitment to medical excellence and compassionate care. Everything we do, everything we believe, powers health.
All right, we're back, and we're going to go to traffic and weather in just a second. But I do want to point something out. There was just an ad for Powers Health, and I do want to mention that the father of the child that was born in the truck the other day, due to the problems that occurred at Franciscan and Crown Point, said that they drove to Community Hospital, which is owned by Powers Health, in Munster, and said they couldn't believe the service and the welcome that they got. He said that there were 15 doctors and nurses waiting literally at the door when they pulled up, and he just wanted to thank them, and I think that says a lot about their approach. So do want to get that into the conversation as well. Let's take a look at traffic. Again, folks, I don't understand what's going on with the Dan Ryan. It is totally backed up now all the way to the Skyway. And I'm going to suggest that if you are on the Ryan, get off and take State Street. I took it yesterday. It moves. It's only going to move at 25, 30 miles an hour, but it's a whole lot better than moving at no speed at all on the Ryan. The Ryan is totally backed up into the circle. Once you get north of basically again, it's backed up to the circle, but oddly, when you get to about 22nd, it starts to thin out, and I can't understand why that would be the case. And the Bishop Ford is its usual problem. Otherwise, area traffic looks pretty good. Northwest Indiana, I-65, 80, 94, the toll road, Klein Avenue all look pretty good. With that, let's go to weather. Good morning again.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 41 degrees with highs of 46 and lows of 41. Should be mostly cloudy throughout today. And then tomorrow on Thursday, we'll be having highs of 53 and lows of 44. It should be mostly cloudy. And then Friday, we'll be having highs of 49 and lows of 38, and should be cloudy with a touch of rain.
And that touch of rain won't do a darn thing to your car. You have the cleanest car on earth. It sparkles. I showed up this morning. I, once again, cannot believe that you keep that car outside. You claim you don't get it washed every day or 5 times a day to keep it as clean as it is. But if you want to see the cleanest car in Northwest Indiana, the Chicago area, just come by and see Lynette's car because it is as clean as can be.
It's not.
It is.
It
is. It's okay. You know what? I'm going to go out there after the show this morning. I'm going to take photos, and next week I'm going to put the photos on the air so people can see how clean
You're going
it
to
is.
see how dirty it is now that it's brighter outside.
It looks pretty clean to me. 845-1100 is the number to call. Do we have callers?
We do not.
We do not have callers, so time is open. Somebody texted me and asked me, one, to clarify that the story about the professor who interrupted the Turning Point USA, that was Purdue Northwest. And another person said, well, you seem like you contradict yourself when it comes to the ICE raids and immigration. Let me explain. My own belief is this. There are plenty of people that are here illegally, but there are people who have not done anything illegal. And my focus or my belief is that ICE and the federal government should focus on the people who are doing things illegally. Okay? If you're breaking the law here, if you are, and not just the fact that you came here illegally, I'm talking about people who are committing murders, they're involved in the drug trade, they're robbing, they're raping. It's those people that I think need to be taken off the street. And the problem is that in the Chicago area, especially, we've turned it into this, argument on both sides. So we have these protests against what ICE is doing, and ICE is acting very heavy-handedly. And I think it's a problem. I think that there's a better way to do it. Why not do what the people in Florida have done, which is local law enforcement prosecutes those individuals that break the law. When they get out of jail, they let ICE know. ICE picks them up. They deport them. End of story. In the Chicago area, instead, we've turned it into a sanctuary area, a sanctuary state, if you will, for the state of Illinois. And basically, we don't share that information with federal authorities, and we harbor these individuals who have caused all kinds of problems in Chicago and in other communities around Chicago, and there lies the problem. So if you look at what Florida has done where they cooperated, they don't have these problems. There's plenty of people here who are down there probably illegally, as the one woman from Honduras pointed out to me. She, in fact, pointed out to a construction project right near my condo and said, hey, a lot of those people that are there probably didn't come here legally, but they're not breaking the law. They're just working. They're doing their job. They're supporting their families, and everybody gets along. It's the people who came here to cause mayhem, the gangs, all those people that are the ones that should be the focus. 845-1100, what say you? And we've got some callers. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Good. I thought I caught a bit of your conversation with Mac that about the Catholic bishops. And did you say that they've condemned the atrocities going on in Africa against Catholics and Christians?
No. In fact, that's the argument. That's the argument that Mad Mac and I made, that they have not.
Exactly.
They have not.
I heard Jim say that yesterday with Verley about, the Catholic bishops came out and condemned the United States for our immigration policy and all that kind of stuff. And I did a search. I went online. I actually went to Perplexity, which is my new AI search. And I've never seen this happen before. You know how you have the rotating spiral of death on Apple products? I got Perplexity to do that because it could not find any condemnation from the Catholic bishops or the Catholic Church on the murders going on in Africa against the Christians and Catholics from Muslim terrorists. So for them to come out and to condemn us on our immigration policy, or and to use that and not use it in a pretty one-sided conversation, I thought that was pretty bad. That's propaganda at its finest, in my estimation.
So here's what Catholic Review says. Catholic Review says Catholic bishops have been vocal individually in their support for Christians facing persecution in Africa and have condemned the violence of intimidation against Christians. So, in other words, it doesn't look like they've issued a...
So no joint statement like they did for the United States immigration policy. Just individuals.
Hold on. There is a statement. Well, there is a statement from September 24th. I take that back. There's a statement from September 24th on behalf of the U.S. Conference of Bishops, emphasizing their solidarity with the bishops and faithful of Africa as they offer the world profound witness of respect for human life and dignity amongst ongoing conflicts in 2025. So there is a statement.
Still no damning condemnation of the Muslim terrorists who are perpetrating this.
No, that's true. I mean, I'm reading through this, and it's basically this was issued by Bishop Elias Zayden, and he issued this statement on behalf of the U.S. Conference of Bishops.
Born and raised a Catholic in the region, Tom, and believe in a higher being. I still pray to this day, but I have no respect for the Catholic religion anymore or the people who run it. I don't have any faith in the bishops anymore because they have become completely politicized. There's it's like the Southern Poverty Law Center and the ACP. They are so politicized now, you can't take anything they say seriously.
I agree with you on that, and I think it's really a shame. And Mad Mac, who I don't agree with, let's face it, the majority of the time, but Mad Mac had a very good point this morning when he said, the mainstream media is in bed with the Catholic Bishops' Conference over the statement on immigration.
Of course they are. They always are. They're looking for people who support their narrative.
But he said, you don't see them support the bishops' stand on being pro-life, and again, look, I think you're right. I think things have become so politicized sometimes that it's almost impossible for most people to wrap their hands around it. I mean, it's politics has entered into everything, and it's sad that it's entered even into the church. I get it. I think the church has a role in saying that, once again, people should be treated humanely, and I agree with that. I don't think that we need to have the strife and the problems that we're having over in Broadview, Illinois, for example, or some of the raids that have gone on. I think there's a better way to handle it, but it takes everyone to cooperate and work together. And the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago have put up huge barriers to identifying anyone. I mean, the most reprehensible criminal, if they're here illegally, the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago refuses to share the information about the whereabouts of that person with federal authorities. And I would think that you'd want those people basically off the street. You'd want them out of this country. I mean, if they're a member of MS-13 or some of the other gangs that are out there, get them off the street. Get them out of this country. And that's where the focus should be.
At what point are we, Hoosiers and other states that live by the rule of law going to start filing lawsuits against, like, the state of Illinois and the governor of Illinois for issuing these CDLs to people who can't even speak English, who are on our roads causing all kinds of mayhem, accidents? When are we going to start fighting back and, filing suits against California and New York for allowing all these people to just, break our laws and to cause damages to the law-abiding taxpayers of this country?
Well, it's a good question.
I want to know I think it's a great question, and why hasn't anybody done it yet? They seem to use lawfare on us quite a bit.
Well, I mean, you bring up a very good point. Todd Rokita, his spokesperson, keeps on saying that he's going to come on. I'd like to ask him about that because I think you're right. You have these states that are issuing these licenses, these CDLs, to drive these 80,000-pound vehicles down the street, and some of them don't even know. There was that one video that you probably saw. It was online all over the place where the guy, and I think he was from Yugoslavia or former Yugoslavia, possibly Croatia, I think, and he was driving.
Uzbekistan.
Was it? Where was it? Uzbekistan. I'm sorry, but he was driving the wrong way down the highway, and the other truck driver pulls him over and pushes him off the road and says, "What the hell are you doing? You're going to kill people." And he's like, "Yes, yes," and he had no idea what he was doing. I worry about those kinds of situations. I worry about, again, individuals who are getting driver's licenses from states where they can't even speak English, they can't read the road signs, they have no idea what they're doing.
Done about this unless we start holding the people giving those licenses at consequences. They need to be punished. The people who are in charge of this need to go to jail, and it's going to change. And I know, the example of the state Republicans here not wanting to redistrict is a perfect example. They keep wanting to be like, "Yo, we're better than that." No, we're not. You've had to fight fire with fire. So I really think we should like go at them. Just get in their face and go at them. Hey, on a different topic, what happened at Purdue Northwest? Yes. No consequences. There will be no consequences for that person. Not a single consequence. You will never hear anything from the chancellor. You'll never hear from anything from the university. Nothing's going to come out.
And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
Because once again, those students had the legal right to be there. They had, basically signed the forms to rent the room. If that was another group and somebody walked in and interrupted that meeting, those meetings, there'd be outrage.
You can guarantee if someone else interrupted any kind of left-sided program, they would suffer consequences. And just on that note, I'm going to tell you, I no longer work at the university, Tom, so I can say whatever I want about the university without any consequences. And the woman who did that, she's not going to suffer any consequences because she's the wrong demographic to suffer consequences. I'll leave it at that.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thanks for your comments. 845-1100 is the number to call. We have some more callers, so let's go to those callers. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, yes.
Hello. Well, on a happy note, I just wanted to wish you and Donna a happy anniversary.
Somebody remembered. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, it is our anniversary today. Thank you very much for remembering.
Okay, well, have fun today.
All right, thank you. 845-1100. Yes, it is. It's my anniversary today. So there you go. And I don't know what we're going to have for, you know what? I'm not going to say it on the air. I was thinking about something what we're going to have for dinner, but I'm not sure that I want to mention it. I think people will start calling me cheap. 845-1100 is the number to call. We have another caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
How you doing, Tom?
Fine. How are you?
Okay. I checked the vote tally on reopening the government, and I see Frank Mervan was a no. Voted right along with party bosses and radical left in the Democratic Party.
How did he?
Frank's a company guy. He's going to toe the line, whatever he's got to do to be a career politician.
Yeah, he for weeks he posted, we needed to get government reopened. We need to get government reopened. We need to reopen our government. We need to do the people's business. And then he votes against reopening government because he says, well, he's taking a stand on health care. Well, you didn't take a stand on health care for all the other weeks when you were posting that we needed to reopen the government. And then you claim, oh, I can't do it. And as I mentioned earlier, the one that really shocked me was this issue about Chuy Garcia, where 24 Democrats joined to vote to rebuke Garcia on what he pulled for his election, trying to fix the election. They had a vote to rebuke him yesterday, 24 Democrats and, the majority of Republicans. And there were 4 additional Democrats who voted present. But that's a sizable number. And once again, where was Frank on that vote?
Well, the thing is, that tells me that as a junior member of the Congress, he's trying to please his masters. It's like Jesus said, you can only serve one master. It's either going to be the people or the party bosses. And obviously, Frank's in with the party bosses.
Well, it was just disappointing. It's disappointing because I know the guy. I know him, and I know that he's better than that. But why didn't he vote in a case? Look, the government thing, I get it. There were very few Democrats that voted with the Republicans. There were 5. So, maybe Mervan wants to keep his appointments for committees and whatnot. But in the case of Chuy Garcia, 24 Democrats, and by the way, the decision to rebuke Garcia or Chuy Garcia actually came from who else but a Democrat. It was led by the Democrats.
Well, yeah. Well, Tom, you've been around a long time. You know how things work. How many people really stick their necks out? And most people are going to go along to get along with however they've got to do it. And Frank obviously is demonstrating he's one of those people. He's not going to be a leader for this area, obviously. He's going to do whatever he's got to do for Frank Mervan. And if that's not obvious by now, it never will be. The idea that he couldn't even vote against a guy like Chuy Garcia goes to show you he's more worried about pleasing the right contingent of that party than he is of actually voting his conscience.
Well, here, the action was introduced by Democratic Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp Perez from the state of Washington. And, people like Bill Foster, Eric Sorensen from Illinois, they voted in favor of the rebuke. And, I mean, if you're Bill Foster, you're part of the Illinois delegation. If you're Eric Sorensen, you're part of the Illinois delegation. You've got to deal with Chuy Garcia. You're a congressman in Indiana. You really don't. And so I don't understand. I don't understand why he didn't take that action, since he says all the time he's bipartisan, and he knows that he's probably going to have a tough fight this coming election. So why not demonstrate, hey, I am bipartisan. I am what I say. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Because he's not. That's why. And the thing is, he probably admired that move that Chewy pulled. He probably thought to himself, boy, that's a pretty slick move. I wonder if I can groom my son for when I decide to retire like that. Just slide him right in at the last minute.
Well, this Congresswoman Perez, I'm going to call her Congresswoman Perez because I can't pronounce her Marie Gluesenkamp, I guess, Gluesenkamp Perez. She called him out on the floor of the House and said, what you did was wrong. You manipulated the system to get your campaign manager on the ballot and no one else. I mean, at the last minute, the campaign manager shows up, has this petition of 2,500 voters that they needed to get on the ballot, and the very first line on the petition, guess whose signature it is? Chuy Garcia. So Garcia knew the whole time what was going on. He said he had no idea, and that day he came in and decided that he couldn't run for office again because he wanted to spend more time with his grandchildren, and his wife has MS and early stages of MS, and he wants to spend time with her. He decided that day, but the petitions had already been signed from weeks ago, and he was the first signature. And so this Congresswoman Perez called him out, and she's a Democrat, and said there's no place for this kind of manipulation.
Well, that just goes to show you there are some people in the Democratic Party with some scruples, but obviously Frank's not one of them.
Well,
I mean, talk is easy. Talk is cheap. You can tell your constituents, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But when it gets down to actually casting a vote, you probably hope that they're not actually keeping tally of what you're doing over there in Washington, You probably think that your constituents are so dense, they're going to just pull that Democratic lever for you anyway, as long as you could lay low for your whole term.
Well, the thing is that I know the guy, and I know that he's better than that, and I get it. Tom McDermott was on my show earlier this year, and he said the same thing. Mervan took a lot of money from the Democratic National Committee, and he's beholden to them. But my view is this: look, you took that money 4 years ago to beat whatever her name is, Green. Okay, that's fine. You took the money then. The gloves are off at this point. You know what? I've done your bidding long enough, and now I'm going to represent my people. I'm going to represent my position and nobody else's. And I wish he would do just that. But
well, a while back I looked at where his finances are coming from for his campaigns, and he gets a real significant amount of it from the medical industry. Now, you go down Calumet Avenue here, that medical corridor down there, and there's big bucks down there. Frank has been the benefit of a lot of that kind of thing. And I guarantee you, when it comes to actually going up against these big insurance companies, big medical corporations and that kind of thing. You know where Frank's going to be voting.
Well, I'll tell you what's interesting is I've made comments about the Affordable Care Act. And Senator Bill Cassidy, who's a Republican, was on with Shannon Breen on Fox Sunday Morning the other day, and he outlined his views. And then there was a congressman from California who's a Democrat who basically went on Face the Nation and said that Bill Cassidy's right. And it was almost like Bill Cassidy had talked to me, because some of the things that he brought up that's wrong with the Affordable Care Act that need to be fixed, I was right on target. For example, if you take the bronze plan, which most people take under the Affordable Care Act, it gives you a $6,000 deductible, and most people can't afford the $6,000 deductible. So Cassidy's point is to take that subsidy that we're putting in right now and put that into an HSA account for people to use to either pay for their insurance or to offset that high deductibility. And those are all things that I think can be done. So I'm happy to see that some Democrats and Republicans in Congress are talking.
You know, if I remember right, when that Obamacare first started, the reason states like Indiana didn't jump into it was because the government at the time only guaranteed government subsidies up to something like the year 2019 or 2020. After that, all bets are off on what was going to happen. Well, obviously, they kept extending it. Now, the thing I don't understand, if with these massive infusions of government money into this thing, why is it that people still have to be paying $6,000 deductibles? If they, it's I don't understand how that works. It just sounds crazy to me. I mean, I know the insurance companies are getting fat and rich off of this, and probably the medical industry too, because they all get a chance to pump up the rates.
I agree with
just
you.
Don't understand it, how people have to pay a $6,000 deductible when the Fed is pumping in, hundreds of billions of dollars into this thing.
Well, and the insurance companies continue to make a profit. So tell you what, we have to go to a break. I appreciate your call, but we're going to pick up this topic at the other side of the break. You're listening to the Morning Call with Tom Dabertin on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM. We're on the TuneIn app. Of course, we're on YouTube Live, so we'll be right back after these commercial messages.
If you're thinking of finishing your basement, installing outdoor security cameras, or your business has plans to break ground on a new project in 2024, Powering Indiana, Lake County is your source for the region's best electricians. With IBEW, Local 697 electricians, you're choosing the highest level of safety and reliability. Visit poweringindiana.org today and ensure your project is in the hands of skilled professionals.
From the gas in your car to the heat in your home and the roads that you drive on, our work powers daily life. We are USW Local 71, the proud men and women of the Whiting Refinery. We're not just refinery workers. We're your friends and neighbors, raising our families here, shopping in the same stores, and cheering in the same stands. USW Local 71, powering the region because we are the region.
Are you searching for a college where you belong? Calumet College of St. Joseph wants to know you and give you the support you need to succeed. Are you worried about how you'll pay for your degree? 95% of our students receive financial aid, including scholarships and grants. Need some extra help with your classes? You'll benefit from our small class sizes, free tutoring, internship planning, faculty mentors, and so much more. Come experience our accepting, supportive college family for yourself. Schedule your campus visit and apply at ccsj.edu.
Tech Credit Union supports the essential role of union labor in building strong communities. That's why we offer hassle-free banking, financial empowerment, and a commitment to your success. Save for the future, handle life's challenges, and trust a partner that stands by hardworking union members. Tech Credit Union, the better option for you and your money. Visit techcu.org or call 800-276-8324. Tech Credit Union, supporting union families every step of the way.
At Strachan Van Til, we believe grocery shopping should be simple. Now, shopping is easier than ever with our new and improved website. Find what you need fast. Browse your favorite products, add them to your cart, and check out in just a few quick steps. Choose between convenient in-store pickup or let us handle the heavy lifting. From our shelves to your doorstep. Skip the lines, shop your way, and spend more time on what matters most. With our rewards program, enjoy incredible savings and personalized offers every time you shop. Shop online now at strachanvantail.com or download our app today.
All right, we're back, and the ad for Strachan Van Til caused me to pull up their app on my phone. They have a big sale on pop this week, which I'll be stocking up on. Also, just want to mention this tomorrow, November 20th, at Calumet College, second floor at 12 noon. Local attorney and historian David Dabertin, gee, I guess I know that guy, will be talking about the true roots of bluegrass, focused on Bill Monroe's connection to the area. Monroe is considered the father of bluegrass. He's also considered one of the fathers of the Grand Ole Opry and modern country music. And basically, what people don't know is that a whole genre of music, bluegrass, started in Northwest Indiana. My younger brother tells the story. He's going to be there tomorrow at 12 noon at Calumet College on the second floor. So you may want to take that in. It's very informative. It will shock you when you realize that Northwest Indiana was the ground zero for bluegrass music, and most people would be a little surprised that it happened here. And like I said, totally shocked that we basically can lay claim to the foundings of a genre of music, and you don't see any markers, you don't see any information, you don't see any festivals, nothing that promote this. So that's tomorrow at noon at Calumet College. 845-1100 is the number to call, but before we go to calls, let's go to traffic and weather. Traffic, again, Northwest Indiana, no problems on I-65, 8094, the toll road, or Klein Avenue. When you go across the line, I would suggest if you're taking the Skyway today, don't take the Skyway, and here's why. Because when you get to its merge with the Ryan, it's totally backed up now past the entrance from the Skyway to the Ryan. The Ryan is a parking lot this morning. Take State Street if you want. You can take Lakeshore Drive. Lakeshore Drive is actually looking pretty decent all the way until about 18th Street. But the Ryan is a total mess, and it's now backing up all the way to the Bishop Ford. So you want to stay out of that area. 8094 or 294 around the city looks good. Usual backups on the Stevenson, the Eisenhower, and all of a sudden the Kennedy went from basically being in pretty good shape to being a mess. So there you go. That's traffic. Let's do weather. And once again, we have Lynette.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 42 degrees with highs of 46 and lows of 41. Should be mostly cloudy throughout today. And then tomorrow and Thursday, we'll be having highs of 53 and lows of 44. Should be mostly cloudy. And then Friday, we'll be having highs of 49 and lows of 38. And should be cloudy with a touch of rain.
And I believe we have some callers. But before we go to the callers, I want to mention real fast. One of the problems with the Affordable Care Act is the way people view insurance. Insurance should be there for catastrophic loss, for serious loss, so it should cover things where you need to have surgery and you have expensive treatments. But insurance was never designed to pay first dollar, and that's what a lot of us end up with. And what Bill Cassidy, the senator, I think from Louisiana, is saying, and the congressman who's a Democrat from California, I'm forgetting his name right now, they're saying is, and they're both physicians, is that people would be better off having HSA accounts and putting money into those accounts to pay for, the prescriptions and the diagnostics and the doctor visits, and let insurance be focused on the more expensive things that could occur. And that's how it should work. But it doesn't. Everybody wants insurance to pay first dollar, and because of that, it's becoming extremely expensive. There's lots of arguments on the Affordable Care Act, and I mentioned some of them before. But 845-1100 is the number to call, and we've got some callers, so we'll go right to those calls. Good morning. You're on the air.
Tom, good morning.
Good morning.
Why does any of this with Frank Mervan surprise you?
I'll answer that because I've known him for many years, and I'm surprised that he isn't more bipartisan than his actions speak. He has claimed that he's bipartisan. I mean, every post, if you go to his Facebook page, almost every post says I'm bipartisan.
And work across the aisle.
Yes, it's all over the place, and then he doesn't do that, and that's disappointing. It is.
Tom, you're very intelligent. Does it take a brick to fall on your head to show you what he's all about?
No, it doesn't. And I'm you know what? I am truly annoyed with the way Congress, and this is no reflection on Frank Mervan. I'm annoyed with so many issues with Congress right now. The fact the insider trading issues, how Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell and all these people have become multi-millionaires because of their, the inside information that if you did that at work, you'd not only be fired, but you'd be charged with a crime. The fact that we have no term limits in this country, so we have people who look like they're practically embalmed. I mean, have you seen a picture of Nancy Pelosi lately? She looks like she's almost been embalmed. I mean, why don't we have term limits and say you can serve in Congress for this many years maximum? And we probably need to have some sort of an age limit too, so that the next Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, what was the name of the senator from California that basically was like a walking zombie in her last days? Those people shouldn't be serving in Congress. They shouldn't be representing us. It gives no hope for someone like Lynette or anybody else that works at this station, Adriana, Matt, younger people, my son, my daughter. They're our generation and generations before us have screwed up Congress. Maybe we need to make some changes so that these problems don't continue to exist.
But we don't have to go to that. We have to go to this slimy move by Chuy Garcia, and look what Frank said.
Yeah. I get
simple.
it.
Tom, it ought to hit to you up close and personal with the fact that he won't come on your show and take calls.
I can't believe he's intimidated by me, but there's, I'm running out of other excuses.
Tom, there are no more excuses for him. What he did was he came on with Adriana, who's been indoctrinated at PNW, and he goes into his word salad with bipartisan, work across the aisle. Adriana's not going to interrupt him. He goes on with his word salad, so he has to take about 3 calls, and then they move on.
Well,
correct?
Adriana, look, I'm not going to fault Adriana. Adriana is young. She is one of the nicest individuals I know. She's a great person. She's very intelligent. But she's young. And I'd like Frank to come in and answer some of the questions that I've posed, and he doesn't want to do it. He told me he was going to do it. He told me in person at a Railcats gathering last year, oh, sure, I'm coming on your show. And then, I know that somebody said that he said Tom Dabertin, who, when my name came up at his community forum, that's fine. I mean, if he wants to say that, again, really, because I could recite his cell phone number off right now if I wanted to. So, yes, he doesn't know me, right?
What does it take for you to go, hey, this is just the way the guy is?
Well, it's not the guy that I used to know. Let's put it that way. So,
okay,
let him surprise me.
Let me ask you this. How is ICE supposed to go after these criminals?
Well, again, I think that the model that I saw in Florida, that I heard about in Florida, that I've mentioned, this woman from Honduras references, I think that's how it should work. So let ICE go after the criminal element. There are hundreds of thousands of criminals in this country that came from other countries. When Trump says that they opened the floodgates and they emptied their prisons, he's right. It's true. Even CNN has admitted that a lot of criminals came to this country illegally. And those are the people that we should be hunting down and tracking down. And the problem is that it shouldn't be legal for the state of Illinois or the city of Chicago to pass laws that say that they don't cooperate with federal law enforcement when it comes to immigration. Okay. They should cooperate just like they cooperate on everything else.
So should ICE say, excuse me, sir, I realize you raped Laken Riley
Absolutely
and smashed her skull with a stone. Would you please come with us?
Absolutely not. No, but here's an example. So in the state of Georgia, they actually do refer cases to ICE, and so that individual, when he is released from prison, he will be deported. But in the state of Illinois, when somebody commits rape, when somebody commits murder, and they're an illegal immigrant, that information is not shared with law enforcement, with federal law enforcement, and I think that's wrong. You want to get those people out of this country. I don't understand how people can go out and protest and say, "Oh, these poor people, they're being picked on, the ones that are criminals." I understand the idea of protesting on the heavy-handedness, but you're kind of forcing the heavy-handedness because there's no cooperation between the state and federal government.
So I think Paul Goddard would ask the simple question, as he's coupled himself with law enforcement in a correct way and been in many pursuits. I think Paul Goddard would ask the simple question, if you haven't done anything wrong, why are you running?
I agree.
Why do we have to chase you?
I agree. And I don't think, by the way, that it's necessary for ICE to focus on the individual that came here illegally, that's working a construction job and trying to pick him up out of the parking lot at Home Depot. I think, on the other hand, there are plenty of criminals that need to be deported. In fact, I'll tell you what, if it were up to me, I'd deport some of our American citizens that are guilty of some of these crimes. I don't care if you're an American or if you're from any other country on earth. If you've committed rape, if you've committed murder, if you've done what you just mentioned, the attack on Laken Riley, that individual, I don't care if they were born here. I don't care if their parents and grandparents had been born here. Those people don't deserve to see the light of day, and I understand our Constitution protects them from being deported, but my own belief is I don't ever want to see them again. And the same should be true for anybody who came here illegally. If they've committed crimes, I mean, look what MS-13 did out in Colorado, where the city in Colorado claimed there was not an issue, and then the residents of that apartment building said, "What the hell? There isn't." I mean, get those people out of this country. They shouldn't be here. Don't protest on their behalf. But at the same time, why are we going after someone who came here? They're looking for a better life. They just came here. They're minding their own business. I think we have bigger targets and bigger fish to fry. That's my opinion.
Tom, I get that. And if you come across those people, how do you know that they don't have something in their background where they haven't appeared and they've got a warrant states away? But
I agree.
Let me get to this.
I agree because of a lack of sharing information. Go ahead.
Can I get some of your callers whose loved ones have been affected by the drug trade and see how they feel about Trump blowing these boats out of the water?
I talked to one.
Fishing boats, Tom.
Nope, I agree with you. And I talked to one individual who has been on the airwaves before and had an impact of the drug trade on their own family. And you're absolutely right. Look, the claim that those people somehow are, we don't know that they're drug traffickers. They might be out there fishing. These are high-speed boats. Some of them are designed almost as submarines. And you know what? Blow them out of the water. They're killing our people. Take their life. I'm sorry. I'm generally pro-life, but I think there's an exception to the rule. And those drug traffickers have killed thousands upon thousands of people. If it was a war, you wouldn't blink twice about what they're doing to people. So I agree with you. You can blow those boats out of the water all day long, as far as I'm concerned.
We're trying to clean up the mess from Biden in the last 4 years, and it's going to take some time to clean that up. Okay, it's like Remember the movie Hoosiers?
Sure do.
Where the team was pretty much lollygagging? That's a word you'd understand at your age, lollygagging.
I haven't heard it for a while, but yes, I do understand it.
And the new coach comes in and says, this is the way we're going to do things. So you've been allowed under Biden to do whatever the heck you want to do. You want to come in, no vaccines, no background check, anything else. And finally, the president and Kristi Noem are going to clean it up.
And don't forget,
it's going to take some time.
Don't forget, they could come over the border without vaccinations, but you couldn't go to work, and you would be thrown out of the military if you didn't have them. Just
or
crazy.
You had to have insurance, right, Tom?
You had to have insurance, and don't forget, you had to stay 6 feet away, too. That was only a few years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for the call. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
845-1100. We have some additional callers, so we'll take those calls. And don't forget, I think we have the Munster Chamber of Commerce show at 8 o'clock this morning. So if that's the case, there's not a lot more time to call in this morning. So feel free to do so. And we'll move on to another caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Not what I called about, but you guys were talking about the drugs. So about 3 months ago, a coworker of mine had to take his wife to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And nothing in the emergency room, nothing, it was minor, but still she had to go. So takes her in there, and in the room next to her, this lady is just hysterical, screaming and just going crazy. And the nurse came in, and he asked her, he said, I'm not trying to be nosy, but what's going on next door? Her 21-year-old son smoking marijuana laced with fentanyl, dead.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And again, what's really frightening is when we talk about
out of the water.
Well, when we talk about the drug issue, a lot of it comes back to China with fentanyl. The drugs, the components of fentanyl are being made sent from China to Central America and then smuggled to the United States. And again, the damage that it's done to so many lives and so many families in the United States, it's wrong. And again, if a foreign nation was killing off our people, we would send our troops and we would destroy that army, right? So these drug gangs basically operate almost as an army. You see the photos of they're heavily armed. They're bringing these boats in, and they're bringing death to our shores. And you can say what you want. Well, maybe we need, better education and better training to keep people from doing drugs. Look, there have been drug addicts for years. We don't need to let fentanyl come into this nation, and I agree with you. Blow those boats right out of the water.
Yeah, and that's why we will be overthrowing that government in Venezuela shortly here. So just watch for that. That is going to happen.
You know what? I don't think so. I think what's going to happen is I think Trump basically is calculating enough that sending the Gerald Ford aircraft carrier group and posting all that. I watch Jack Keane. Jack Keane is a former vice chairman of the Chiefs of Staff. He was the U.S. Army Chief of Staff during the Persian Gulf War. He's an interesting guy, and he was asked the other day, well, how long would a war last with Venezuela? And he said about 18 minutes. And he said, look, what we're really doing is we're intimidating the drug lords and the people behind Maduro that, we mean business, and they'll probably take Maduro out themselves. They'll push him out of the way. And they'll probably put somebody in who's a little bit more accepting of American resolve and probably tone things down. So I don't think we'll actually take any military action, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, and my last comment, I got to go. All the congressmen that voted not to open up the government, you put them air traffic controllers in a spot, and what those people did was put the traveling public's life danger. And I don't care what anybody says about it. That's what were they waiting for? A couple planes to collide with a couple hundred people each on them? I'll never vote for a single one of them. Did you see Dick Durbin go to O'Hare yesterday?
Well, Durbin actually is one of those people who crossed the line and he voted to reopen government. So I'll give Dick Durbin credit for that. But what I thought was interesting was the report that was on CNN this morning. And they basically said that the shortage of air traffic controllers was caused by the Obama administration's DEI hires. That the DEI hiring process during the Obama administration is what caused the shortage of air traffic controllers now. So I agree with you. Look, the shutdown didn't help things. It caused a lot of air traffic controllers to make a choice. Do I go get another job and feed my family, or do I sit here and work for free until government reopens? And I get that. But I thought it was amazing that CNN called out the problem and blamed it on the Obama administration DEI hires, because those individuals were unable to either pass the exam or function as an air traffic controller. And that's why we're short about 3,500 air traffic controllers in the United States right now.
Yeah. Now, they're lucky they didn't get a bunch of people killed, and it just infuriates me, and they ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Absolutely. And again, a shutdown, to me, one of the first rules that I would pass, first laws, is during a shutdown, Congress doesn't get paid, their staffs don't get paid, and they never, ever get the back pay. As long as we're shut down, they never, ever get the back pay for the time that's lost.
And can you name me anything that they accomplished?
They accomplished nothing. It didn't help either. I think both sides lost. I don't think it helped the Republicans. I don't think it helped the Democrats. I think both sides lost. I think what it did was it caused more people to think that Congress is just adrift and has no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, and I think that that Hakeem Jeffries, I think that guy's stoned out of his gourd every time, 24 hours a day. He just looks higher than a kite. I don't know what that guy is, but I don't know.
I mean, how about the fact that he went on all these tangents for the last few weeks and said we need to release the Epstein files. We're going to get Trump. We're going to get Trump, and then they release the files. They start releasing them, and who's begging Epstein to have a meeting with him and to give him money for his campaign, and basically writing these emails that are glorifying Jeffrey Epstein after he was convicted of sex trafficking and sex with a minor? Hakeem Jeffries. Well, there's a guy that I want leading my party.
Yeah, and I agree with you on one thing. I think Trump played the hand here, and I think. Well, did you see Elon was at the White House last night with the Saudi Saudi prince, and those two were up to something with Elon tweeting that they did I think something entertaining is going to happen here. I
think that Trump set the Democratic Party in Congress up for a fall. They're going to release all this information now, and it's going to come out about Bill Clinton going down to that island. It's going to come out about all the dealings that Hillary Clinton had with Epstein. It's going to come out about all of the Democratic leaders, and there's going to be some hurt to the Republicans too. But at the end of the day, Trump's going to survive. It's going to be everybody else that's going to get mud on their feet and mud on their face, and they deserve it. So, hey, thanks for calling.
The queen and king of the Democratic Party, the Clintons, are going to be cast off into the sunset and made totally irrelevant, and then they got a problem.
Yep, and I think that there might even be a tie to Barack Obama, from what I understand. So it's going to be very, very entertaining, to say the least. But it's also going to be very annoying to know that we allowed this type of stuff to go on. That we had people who were serving as leaders of this nation who were literally in bed with a sex trafficker, and that's what's going to come out. And again, it's going to be embarrassing for a lot of people, no doubt about it. Hey, thanks for calling.
Yep, have a good one.
You as well. Have another caller? Okay, so I want to go back to people have texted me and called me after I was on the show the last couple of weeks talking about the Affordable Care Act. And again, I just want to explain. There are some very good parts of the Affordable Care Act. I've said that before, and I believe that strongly, but I also believe that there are a lot of fixes that need to be made. And I hope I really hope that the Democrats and the Republicans listen to these two doctors. Again, it's Bill Cassidy in the Senate. I forget the name of the doctor. I think his last name starts with an A, from California, and he's a Democrat. And if they listen to these doctors are right. You know, these federally subsidized health clinics are a great way to help reduce the burden on private hospitals and to help out individuals who don't have the money for insurance and who need medical treatments. We have them throughout the area. Those are great operations, and Cassidy says, we need to put some of the dollars there. He pointed out that we need to pool catastrophic insurance. That was one of the goals of the Affordable Care Act that got lost. So the idea that someone who basically has cancer, has been a cancer survivor, that there be some sort of a federal fund that helps insurance companies offset those costs, I think that makes sense. But giving subsidies to the insurance companies is just like throwing money out in the street and watching it roll down into traffic. It's just not going to do us any good. And that's what really is going on with the Affordable Care Act. We're giving all this money to prop up insurance companies. So you give the money to the insurance companies, what are they going to do? Well, they're just going to keep on raising prices. If you give that money to the individual and let them put it in a health savings account, maybe they can afford a high deductible insurance plan and use those dollars to cover the normal costs, the cost of blood tests and then the cost of an annual exam and things like that. That's where those dollars should be used, and it seems like these doctors understand it. Steve Scalise from the House also is a physician, and he seems to understand it. And it's amazing that you've got these physicians in Congress, both in the Senate and the House, and nobody wants to listen to them, even though they understand a lot of the problems, I think, better than the people that are getting everybody's attention. So I think there are some improvements that can be made to the Affordable Care Act. I wouldn't get rid of it, but I'd make some significant improvements, and hopefully the Democrats and the Republicans, for a change, will trust each other long enough to make some meaningful change to the way insurance is structured right now. Again, allow people to buy insurance across state lines. That would drive down the cost of insurance as well. So 845-1100, do we have a caller waiting? We don't. I mean, let me ask you, Lynette, you're young. Do you worry about health insurance coverage?
I do.
I mean, you're at the point where basically you're either off or getting off your parents' coverage, right? Mm-hmm. And it seems to me that if we're going to subsidize insurance, what we should do is put the money in. If we put it into an account, if we gave you $2,000 and said, "Here, Lynette, you can use that money to pay for an annual exam and blood tests and those kinds of things because you're very healthy," and then you could buy catastrophic coverage for the big things, and your insurance is going to be very, very cheap because you're healthy and you're young. So the numbers work in your favor. Wouldn't that be better than trying to subsidize health insurance companies who are just going to jack up the rates on you anyway and not cover anything?
Oh yeah.
And there's the problem. That's the problem with the Affordable Care Act. We keep on throwing money to the insurance companies, which is the very problem that we have. And, I just don't understand it. But, again, it's been great to be here this morning. But I have a feeling that we're going to be on a while because
I'm not seeing anyone in the parking lot.
So I'll tell you what. Folks, I'm going to say that we're not having a show at 8 o'clock. And because of that, we're going to be on till 8:30. We know we have Think Parks at 8:30. So let's take a break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to the Morning Call. We'll be here now till 8:30. So we'll be right back after these commercial messages.
If you're thinking of finishing your basement, installing outdoor security cameras, or your business has plans to break ground on a new project in 2024, Powering Indiana, Lake County is your source for the region's best electricians. With IBEW, Local 697 electricians, you're choosing the highest level of safety and reliability. Visit poweringindiana.org today and ensure your project is in the hands of skilled professionals.
From the gas in your car to the heat in your home and the roads that you drive on, our work powers daily life. We are USW Local 71, the proud men and women of the Whiting Refinery. We're not just refinery workers. We're your friends and neighbors, raising our families here, shopping in the same stores, and cheering in the same stands. USW Local 71, powering the region because we are the region.
Are you searching for a college where you belong? Calumet College of St. Joseph wants to know you and give you the support you need to succeed. Are you worried about how you'll pay for your degree? 95% of our students receive financial aid, including scholarships and grants. Need some extra help with your classes? You'll benefit from our small class sizes, free tutoring, internship planning, faculty mentors, and so much more. Come experience our accepting, supportive college family for yourself. Schedule your campus visit and apply at ccsj.edu.
Tech Credit Union supports the essential role of union labor in building strong communities. That's why we offer hassle-free banking, financial empowerment, and a commitment to your success. Save for the future, handle life's challenges, and trust a partner that stands by hardworking union members. Tech Credit Union, the better option for you and your money. Visit techcu.org or call 800-276-8324. Tech Credit Union, supporting union families every step of the way.
At Strachan Van Til, we believe grocery shopping should be simple. Now, shopping is easier than ever with our new and improved website. Find what you need fast. Browse your favorite products, add them to your cart, and check out in just a few quick steps. Choose between convenient in-store pickup or let us handle the heavy lifting. From our shelves to your doorstep. Skip the lines, shop your way, and spend more time on what matters most. With our rewards program, enjoy incredible savings and personalized offers every time you shop. Shop online now at strachanvantil.com or download our app today.
All right, folks, get a bonus half hour of me this morning. So Lynette and I are wondering, but we got a bonus half hour. So 845-1100 is the number to call. If you called earlier and I had to cut you off because there were other callers, feel free. We can take a little bit longer calls right now. But before we do anything else, let's go to traffic and weather. And again, just looking at some of the sales at Strachan Van Til look pretty good. And I should mention that during the ads, Tech Credit Union showed up. I saw John Wilkening on the video. John's going to be here next Wednesday morning joining me as a co-host. So we'll have John Wilkening, Chief Banking Officer of Tech Credit Union, on. We're going to talk about some of the mortgage issues and financial issues. I know Brad Gimble will want to call, but we'll talk about all kinds of stuff. And John is a product of the region, so we can talk a little bit, too, about Thanksgiving tradition. So we'll do that all next week. Beginning at 6 a.m. But looking at traffic in the Chicago, Northwest Indiana area, if you're in Northwest Indiana, well, you're in good shape. 8094, I-65, the toll road, Klein Avenue, all look fine. Going across the line into Illinois, it's a problem. Interestingly, some of the traffic on the Bishop Ford actually has cleared up a little bit. It's largely when it gets near the Ryan that it's just a parking lot. And again, there is now backup onto the Chicago Skyway. So that's really, really a mess. And just want to point out, be careful. You can take Lakeshore Drive. Lakeshore Drive doesn't look too bad. My suggestion is, if I were you, I would take State Street or one of the surface streets if you're trying to get north into the city. The Circle is kind of a mess, and then the Kennedy, the Eisenhower, Stevenson all look bad. 294 isn't looking great either at this point. So there you have it. Just drive, listen to us, and enjoy the morning, folks. You'll get there at some point. With that, let's talk weather. And the owner of the cleanest car on earth, Lynette.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 42 degrees with highs of 46 and lows of 41. Should be mostly cloudy throughout today. And then tomorrow we'll be having highs of 53 and lows of 44. Should be mostly cloudy. And then Friday we'll be having highs of 49 and lows of 38. Should be cloudy with a touch of rain.
And so I just want to I want to continue my argument with you about your car. Your wheels are clean, okay? There isn't a speck of dirt on those wheels. So I don't know how you must levitate the car here because it never has any dirt on it. It can be filthy, dirty, rainy, sloppy, snowy, and your car's clean.
No, when you leave today, go ahead and have a closer look.
I'm going to. I'm going to take some photos. I'm going to take some photos. That is the cleanest car in America. Anyway, 845-1100, and we have some callers. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good
nice
morning.
Show.
Thank you.
Good show, I should say.
Thank you.
You know, we're talking about health insurance and, our medicine and such. I'll tell you who's killing me, the dentist. And I have insurance.
So I'll tell you one of the problems. So that's a great point. So insurance basically is a bottom-up insurance, right? It pays the first so many dollars, and then you pay everything beyond that.
And if it's not a percentage up, see, they only pay a percentage.
Right. But they pay for your cleanings, and they pay for the first visit, and then the amount that they cover diminishes, as you said. It reduces in percentage. See, that's part of the problem with the Affordable Care Act, because what we're doing is we're kind of migrating toward that same structure where, the insurance companies are willing to pay those first couple of dollars, and then they're paying less and less as it goes up until you get to a point where it's catastrophic coverage. And there lies the problem.
Yeah, because I'm at year end now. Okay, so with everything that they've paid, I still have a big lump I have to pay with insurance.
Right.
And this is my husband and I.
Yeah, and again, it is getting very expensive. By the way, the number of dentists, independent dentists, has seen a reduction over the years in the area. I've brought this up before. There are a lot of people who are not going into professional capacities. The biggest shortage in Northwest Indiana, they say that there's going to be a shortage on attorneys, which I guess is good for my son, but the biggest shortage is veterinarians. Almost no veterinarians left in Northwest Indiana. They are closing their doors right and left. A lot of them are retiring, and there's no one to take their place. And the cost of health care for animals is going up exponentially.
Right. Well, my granddaughter's going. She's going to Arizona, and that's what she's going in for.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. And I hope she comes back. I hope, though, she'll come back to this area and practice, because there's a big shortage.
I think she could go anywhere.
Oh, absolutely. But once again, it's like this evil cabal. So if you're a doctor, if you're a veterinarian, if you're a dentist, and you want to go into practice by yourself, the cost of insurance, the liability insurance, the cost of equipment, for any of those professions to outfit their office is so darn expensive these days. And you can't tell me that equipment's that expensive to build.
Well, and I would say half of them are renting it. In payment plan that way,
right.
Because they can't own something like that right away.
Right.
So a lot of, and then again, that's what they have to pay for. And just like us, everything that you need, you have to pay for. And it's gotten to where I couldn't find anyone to clean my carpet. They don't do it anymore.
Well, there's a lot to be said about do-it-yourselfers, but I agree with you that do-it-yourselfers have pushed certain industries out of the way, and people rent the rug doctor, or they have their own equipment to clean their carpets.
These bones are not going to do that.
It doesn't It doesn't do that deep clean like you need.
No. But I'm just saying that it's sad. It's really sad. And we're just, normal people, and our teeth are good. But I couldn't imagine with other people.
Well,
would have
again,
to pay.
you bring up the perfect example of the problems with health insurance. So, again, people want, look, I get it. Everybody says if I'm paying for something, I want to benefit from it, okay? But you'd be better off if your dental insurance basically had you pay for the teeth cleanings and had you pay for the initial visit, and then they paid for everything else, so that when you had a filling, when you had a crown or whatever, that's covered at a higher percentage. Instead, what your insurance probably says, we'll cover the teeth cleaning, we'll cover the visit, and then they'll cover like 25% of the crown or something like that, right?
Right, exactly. And it's with all the insurances. What I paid for insurance in the year, I could have paid for the services that I received.
Exactly. And that's what's happening with health insurance too. It's great. Okay. Again, I'm an advocate of the idea of everybody getting an annual physical. I think that made sense. That was part of the, Obamacare. But for most people, beyond that, for them to get benefit from their insurance now is almost to the point where unless you have a major illness, you're not seeing any benefit. And you'd be better off putting that money into a health savings account to help cover those costs instead of paying these exorbitant costs into health insurance and not getting any benefit out of it.
Right. I agree. I'll hang up, and then you can take other callers. Have a great day.
Thanks so much. 845-1100 is the number to call. The caller is so right about the cost of health insurance and the cost of dental insurance. Lynette, do you have dental insurance currently?
I do.
You do. Mm-hmm. And so, once again, what she's saying should resonate with you and does with me. You go in and you pay for your health insurance, you pay for the dental insurance, and it covers like the first few dollars, and then everything else you're on your own. So if you have a cavity, if you need a root canal, if you need a crown or any of those kinds of things, you're paying for it, and that becomes very expensive. And it really should be the other way around, where you pay the first few dollars and then insurance takes on the big expenses. But it's just it's an evil cabal these days, because the insurance companies, there's only 3 or 4 players left. They've all merged. So you have United Healthcare, you have Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield, you've got Cigna, Humana. I mean, those are the big players these days, and everybody else is getting pushed out of the market. They've gotten out of the market, and it's just a shame. We have so many problems. And by the way, when you talk to people from Canada, the comments that they have about the Canadian health system, we all hear like we should have Canadian health, right? You hear it. You talk to someone who actually is from Canada, like a woman named Steph. She's about your age, and I met her down in Florida. And she and her husband, I mean, they described the health system in Canada as a blank show. I mean, she said it's just impossible. She said you cannot imagine how bad the health system is in Canada. She said you never get in to see a physician. If there's anything seriously wrong with you, good luck. And that a lot of people who have Canadian national health insurance, they end up coming to the States because they can't get decent treatments in Canada. There's no competition. There's no interest. And I mean, she just went into this diatribe one day about how bad health coverage was in Canada. And yet you and I hear, oh, the Canadians, they have it made, right? It's great. You're going to move to Canada because, you're going to save so much money on health in Canada. And then you talk to Canadians and they're like, no, it's horrible. I don't know. We need to fix some of these things. I mean, the argument that the health insurance system got broken in the last decade or so, you hear that? Let me point this out, and a lot of listeners will recognize this. Health insurance has been broken in the United States going back to the 1980s. In the 1980s, we talked about all kinds of problems with health insurance. It has been a debate for now 40 years, and we've really done nothing to fix it. It just keeps on getting worse. It stays broken. We're throwing more and more money at it. We're getting less and less benefit from it. And something's got to give. And I'm truly hoping, and I'm probably am wasting my time and my energy, but I'm hoping that Congress gets it right this time and fixes some things. And hopefully there's some bipartisanship between some Democrats and Republicans who are actually health professionals who seem to understand some of the fixes that need to happen. So 845-1100 if you have an opinion on health insurance in this country, but it's scary. And for you, I mean, do you buy your own insurance or do you get it still through your parents?
I'm still with my parents.
But you only have it for a short period of time yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for you, it's like your feet are hanging over the edge. You're on the cliff. And I mean, have you looked at the price of health insurance?
I have.
And it's pretty scary, isn't it?
Yep.
I mean, you're just starting out in your work career, and so you've got car payments and you've got everything else to worry about, and then you look at the cost of health insurance, and it's frightening. I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, I mean, most of my family members that live in Texas, they live near the border of Mexico. They just go to Mexico for their doctor appointments and their medicine. Yep. So it's cheaper over there.
I mean, is that realistic for you? Because you live in the Chicago area.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I can't do a thing about that.
I mean, it's frightening. So, you're healthy and you're in great shape. But there are some people your age that have some health issues. And those individuals are basically, having to worry about the same issue. They're on their parents' coverage, but in another year they're going to be off of it. What are they going to do? And we created this problem. Once again, the whole idea of the Affordable Care Act was we were going to have catastrophic health insurance. So if you were a cancer survivor, if you had heart disease, if you had neurological problems, you were going to be able to be covered. And then, for catastrophic coverage, and then you would pay basically those first dollars. And that would alleviate the burden for health insurance companies so they could lower the costs on you and everybody else that's young and fit. And it just hasn't happened. It's worked the exact opposite. We have another caller. Let's take that caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Tom, this is Rick.
Hey, Rick.
The thing is, as soon as the Democrats get back in power, they're going to change it back the way it was. I don't know if you ever listen to this guy. Well, I listen to this guy every day from 4 to 7. His name is Sean Thompson.
Okay.
He's on AM 560, The Answer. And he says the only people that get rich through Obamacare was the insurance companies.
He's right. He's totally right. Look, I've testified in court on the Affordable Care Act. He's totally right. The health insurance companies have made more profit off of the Affordable Care Act than they should have. We're giving them these subsidies now, and all subsidies do is basically give them the right to raise the rates. They keep on raising the price. Health insurance keeps on going up on an average of 9 to 15% per year in the United States. And those dollars aren't getting to the healthcare providers. They're basically being sucked up by the insurance companies. And it's just an evil cabal, if you ask me.
Well, there's only two people I listen to, Sean Thompson and you. I listen to you on Wednesday, and I listen to him every day. So,
well, I appreciate you listening. And again, I don't know all the answers. I know quite a bit about the Affordable Care Act, and I know that when it got passed, there were a lot of mistakes. There were a lot of errors. There were a lot of things. Even Barack Obama said, look, this thing's going to have to be a living document. We're going to have to make changes. We're going to have to fix some things. We're going to have to go and create that catastrophic health plan that was talked about when the Affordable Care Act was first considered. None of it happened. And the whole reason why is because of the gridlock in Washington. Because the Democrats didn't trust the Republicans to make any changes to the Affordable Care Act. And the Republicans basically, there were some nonsensical arguments that we should just get rid of everything and let the free market handle it themselves. And the free market, I don't know about you, but I'd be concerned letting the free market just completely handle health insurance in the United States in 2025. I think they just gouge the daylights out of us. So there's got to be some regulation.
He was saying something about the subsidies.
Yes.
What's that about?
So there have been subsidies all the way back to the Obama administration. The subsidies have increased. They greatly increased during the Biden administration because people weren't working during COVID, so they increased the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. So the problem is that the government is paying billions upon billions of dollars to health insurance companies to create these plans that are then available through the Affordable Care Act. And what they're doing is they're taking the money and they're giving no benefit back to the American people. It's very obvious. So they keep on raising the out-of-pocket and the deductibles on the coverage that you get through the Affordable Care Act. And they're raising the individual price because they're getting all this money from the federal government and they're not showing what they're doing with it. And so guys like Bill Cassidy, who's a physician and a member of the U.S. Senate, he's come out and said, look, instead of giving those subsidies to the insurance companies, give those subsidies directly to the individuals that qualify, to the low and mod income individuals who are buying the Affordable Care Act, and let them use those dollars to help pay for the cost of insurance, but also to put some of that money in a health savings account to help offset the costs that aren't being covered by health insurance. And to me, that makes a lot more sense than giving the money to the insurance companies. I mean, you give the money to, if we were subsidizing the automobile industry, I mean, we'd all be laughing about it, right? If you give money to Ford, all Ford's going to do is charge more for the car. Well, that's what insurance companies are doing.
So when you say government, you mean the taxpayer?
The taxpayer. The taxpayer is basically subsidizing health insurance for a lot of people. For about 40 million people in the United States get their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. And those individuals and those families, that coverage is being subsidized. But you know what? The cost of their health insurance is just as high as it is in the private sector. So we're not getting any benefit out of these subsidies that are being given. And we're just wasting money.
Have a good one, Tom.
Hey, thanks so much. I mean, again, I get his point. We're paying subsidies to insurance companies, right? And then he has to go out and work today, and his health insurance plan through work is probably going up. Again, the Kaiser Family Foundation, if you're listening and you want information that's pretty accurate and pretty trustworthy, go to the Kaiser Family Foundation. They are all about basically pointing out the problems with health care insurance in the United States. And it's a pretty reputable site. And when you look at what they're saying, they're agreeing, they're saying the same thing I'm saying, or I'm saying what they're saying, I guess, is that we shouldn't be giving these subsidies directly to insurance companies because we just drive up the price. There's no competition then. I mean, and we've allowed health insurance companies to basically consolidate through mergers. I think we're down to, again, 3 or 4 players. Used to be 16 when the Affordable Care Act was first passed. So there you go. We have driven competition right out of the market. We've caused these companies to become even bigger and even more powerful and even, basically more profitable because we're paying for subsidies and we're eliminating all of the competition that exists in the market. And because of that, people can't afford health insurance, and it's a real problem. 845-1100 is the number to call. We've got about seven minutes left before the end of the show this morning. Ends up we had a little bonus because we thought we had a paid show coming in at 8 o'clock, and we didn't. But I'm glad that I've got the chance to talk about the issue of the Affordable Care Act. Once again, insurance is just totally out of control these days on the costs. The insurance companies really don't care. They have huge lobbyists in Washington. So if you wonder why Congress hasn't taken this up, why Congress hasn't changed the Affordable Care Act, part of it also has to be blamed on the lobbyists. They're spending millions upon millions of dollars to keep certain people in office who refuse to look at reasonable and cost-effective change when it comes to health insurance. Again, the Affordable Care Act made some changes that were necessary. So pre-existing conditions, keeping individuals on as adults, as young adults, on their parents' health insurance makes sense. The idea that an individual should get an annual physical, including blood tests, so that they can determine if the person has any health issues and catch those in their infancy, that makes sense. So those were all good things that the Affordable Care Act actually brought to the table. But the subsidies, the inequity in coverage, those kinds of things, forcing companies or inviting companies to actually merge, big mistake. I mean, I think health insurance would be a whole lot cheaper if you have 16 players than when you only have 4 players. And those are all things that basically happen as a result of the Affordable Care Act. And those are things that we need to fix. And I'm glad to see that there's a couple of individuals talking about it in Congress, but I think I don't think they're going to get their way. I think they're going to get overshadowed by the health insurance company lobbyists. And frankly, they're going to get mired down in this debate because Democrats and Republicans can't agree on anything, even when it's common sense. Things like, rebuking Chuy Garcia for trying to manipulate the elections in his successor's election for next year. Those are the kinds of things that cause people like myself and you to look at and say we're not happy with the way Congress is acting. But we'll leave that for another day. I think we're about out of time for this morning. So we're going to go to a commercial break, and then Think Parks is coming up. And keep it tuned here all day, all week to WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM. And I'll be back next Wednesday morning. It'll be maybe a little bit more lighthearted discussion. I'm going to have John Wilkening on with me. We're going to talk about some things. We're going to talk about some nostalgia, if you will, about the holidays and about the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and some of the Thanksgiving parades and their origins. We'll talk about. We'll also talk about some of the old television shows in Chicago that used to kind of help usher in the holidays, if you will. So we'll cover all that next Wednesday morning, beginning at 6 a.m. Keep it tuned right here all day, all week. And before I forget, happy anniversary to Donna. Take care, folks. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Life's biggest challenges don't come with a warning. When legal issues arise, whether it's a car accident, personal injury, criminal charge, or representing you before municipal boards, you need a trusted advocate on your side. At Westland & Bennett, we listen first because your story matters. We provide strategic, personalized legal solutions to protect your rights, your freedom, and your future. Peace of mind starts with a conversation. Call 219-440-7550 today for a free consultation.
Becoming a truck driver doesn't have to be complicated. At Schneider, we make it easy to get your commercial driver's license and start your new career. With our CDL apprenticeship training, you'll get paid to become a truck driver in just 5 to 6 weeks and have a Schneider driving job waiting for you when you've completed the program. Plus, during training, Schneider will provide transportation, lodging, and meals at no cost to you. Ready to get your career on the road? Learn more and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
At Strachan Van Til, we believe grocery shopping should be simple. Now, shopping is easier than ever with our new and improved website. Find what you need fast. Browse your favorite products, add them to your cart, and check out in just a few quick steps. Choose between convenient in-store pickup or let us handle the heavy lifting. From our shelves to your doorstep. Skip the lines, shop your way, and spend more time on what matters most. With our rewards program, enjoy incredible savings and personalized offers every time you shop. Shop online now at StrachanVanTil.com or download our app today.
Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana wants to make you a winner every Friday in October with our $500K Double Down giveaway. Earn entries each week to boost your chance of winning a guaranteed $50,000. Then you can choose to walk away or risk half for a shot at $100,000 in cash. Do you dare to double down? Only at Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana, just off Exit 6, I-80 94. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Siri, read me that text.
Sorry, I can't complete your request.
You want me to read that?
No, I got it.
Construction zone.
I see it.
Watch it!
Oh.
Oh my god! You're gonna hit him!
Oh, fuck!
When driving in a construction zone, be smart, be alert, be in the zone.
This is Brian Short, business manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save lives. We're all in this together.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.